Hey guys, welcome to another video. If you're new here, my name is Jinti and I'm currently in Thailand with my partner Chris and daughter Ayana. So if you watch my videos, you know that we spent 2 months in Indonesia and then we've spent nearly 2 months here in Thailand. And these are huge tourist destinations and also sort of like vegan heavens. So I wanted to share with you guys today some of the cost of living here and how much it costs to travel, and I thought I'd kind of compare the two places. Now, little disclaimer, obviously I haven't been everywhere in Thailand or everywhere in Indonesia, far from it. So in general, I'll sort of be comparing Ubud in Bali to Chiang Mai in Thailand, the sort of like cultural hubs, more spiritual places, lots of vegan food and lots of yoga and stuff like that. And I'll also compare Gili Air in Indonesia, which is a small island off Bali, with Kohphangan Island, where I am right now in southern Thailand. I just want to make it clear we do not eat or stay in anywhere fancy, big resorts or fancy restaurants or anything like that. We travel on a budget, so make sure you keep that in mind when I talk about the prices. I'll begin with accommodation. In general, in both countries, we spend around 20 Australian dollars a night on accommodation. You can easily find places for less than that. I'd say around 15 Australian dollars is very common, but 20 gives you a slightly more space and more amenities, which we prefer because we're traveling with our daughter. Now, cost of food. Food. The most important part of traveling. Well, sort of, I think. When I say Indonesia, I'm talking about like Gili Air and Ubud. And when I say Thailand, I'm talking about Chiang Mai and Kohphangan. So in Indonesia and Thailand, there are a lot of vegan restaurants, 100% vegan specialty places. And they always cost a little bit more than just a local restaurant where you can find vegan options or you can veganize meals. The average cost of a meal that we found in Indonesia was $4 to $5, and in Thailand $3 to $4, but you could easily get a delicious Thai curry for $2. Now, fruit. The best fruit we have found is in Chiang Mai, Thailand. Literally the best fruit we have ever eaten and the cheapest. It is absolutely incredible. Like if you want to go fruitarian or whatever, like you should go to Chiang Mai. It's amazing. As expected, fruit on Kohphangan and Gili Air is more expensive. You're on a small island, but you can still find it and it is still really great tropical fruit. Fruit in Ubud is great. We had amazing papayas, dragon fruits, mangosteens. It wasn't mango season, but it was more expensive than in Thailand and probably not quite as good quality. So transport, we find it easiest to get around on a scooter. A scooter rental in Bali costs us 70 Australian dollars for 1 month. Scooter rental in Chiang Mai we found for like $7 a day. We'd never hired a scooter in Chiang Mai. We traveled on songtaos, which are like a public taxi that you can hop in the back of, and everywhere around the city was $1 Australian dollar per trip. And then we hired a scooter on Kohphangan Island, and wow, we looked in so many different places to find a scooter. Chris tried to barter so much and it was just very expensive. We paid 180 Australian dollars for 1 month scooter hire on Kohphangan Island, which is a lot considering we spent $70 in Bali. Petrol is the same, it's around $1 a litre. Now, a few other living expenses I'll just go through. So Wi-Fi, we found it to be free everywhere nearly, and also really great quality. The fastest we've had was in Chiang Mai, but whilst we were on Gili Air, we were still uploading videos faster than we were in our apartment in Australia. Coffee. In Bali, a local coffee is sort of around $1. Same here in Thailand, but if you want a barista made coffee in Bali, approximately $4 a coffee. Here in Thailand, I'd say slightly cheaper, average $3 a coffee. Fruit smoothies, $1 here in Thailand, $2.50 upwards in Bali. A few other things like phone data and electricity. Phone data is so cheap in both countries. You can expect to pay around $8 for about 5 gigabytes of data. And electricity, if you plan on staying somewhere for a longer period of time, you usually have to pay for the electricity. In Bali, we spent $40 for 1 month on electricity. I'm not sure that was the accurate price though. And here in Thailand, we spent $27 for 1 month on electricity. All right, so that's sort of general living expenses. If I left anything out, leave a comment and I will try to answer as best as I can. Now, these are huge tourist destinations, and often when you're traveling, you want to go to beautiful beaches. So I want to talk about that for a little bit. Chiang Mai and Ubud are both inland, so I'm going to be talking about Gili Air and I'm going to be talking about Kohphangan Island. So both are great beaches to travel to as a family. Gili Air has no cars on the island and it is a much smaller island. The water temperature was beautiful and great swimming. We loved Gili Air. There's some areas that are much better for swimming than others. And also I will mention that on the beach there was a lot of coral, which can be maybe a hassle to walk on sometimes. Here on Kohphangan Island, the water is very warm this time of the year. Like the warmest water I have ever swam in, and it's extremely shallow all around the island. So it's not ideal for like swimming, but it's great for playing with our baby. I highly rate Gili Air beaches. They're absolutely beautiful. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about getting around, because when you travel somewhere, you often obviously want to explore. Now in Bali, it's incredibly easy to do this on a scooter or by hiring a driver for the day. And a driver usually costs around $50 to $60 for a day. And they provide a really nice car. And if you're with other people, you can obviously split this cost. Now it's very easy to do day trips in Bali. You can go from like Ubud, which is inland, to like the beach, to waterfalls and things like that. Whereas in Thailand, it's a much bigger country, it's harder to get around, or it takes a lot longer. And when you're traveling as a family, that can be quite a hassle because Ayana needs to nap and all of those sorts of things. So we ended up paying for flights from Chiang Mai down south to Koh Samui via Bangkok, and obviously flights are a lot more expensive, so I think you really need to consider that if you are planning on exploring and sightseeing. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, which isn't considered as often but I think is extremely important if you're considering traveling, is like the vibe, the energy of a place. And that might sound weird, but I think it's important, like how you feel when you get there. Like, do you feel like you're welcome, and what do you get from like the people, the culture? This is just my own experience, and in Bali, there's something special about that place for me, and I just feel so warm and welcome when I'm there in Bali. The people, they've just got like beautiful smiles and just very friendly from my experience. I would live in Bali and I'll definitely be going back there and spending a lot of time there throughout my life, I'm sure. Now in Thailand, I had a very different experience. In Chiang Mai, I just didn't quite feel as welcome in a way, I suppose you could say, and here on Kohphangan Island even more so. I will mention that Kohphangan is renowned for its full moon parties, so a lot of people are coming here and getting wasted and doing drugs, and I'm sure that's had an impact on how locals feel about like Westerners and stuff coming here, because they might be like, oh, they're here to just like party and be drunk. But yeah, in general, the vibe in Thailand has been very different from in Bali. That's basically our experiences between like Indonesia, in particular Bali, and parts of Thailand. You could easily live, and we have, of $50 a day as a small family, eating out, including accommodation, including transport, but not including like touristy things to do, which we don't tend to do much. We prefer to get outside, to walk, to explore, to go to beaches, temples, and that sort of thing. We're not really into like paying for like tourist things, which always adds a lot more to the cost of travel. If there's anything else I can include, please leave a comment below because I'll try my best to answer. These places are all amazing places to travel for vegans. There's so many options, so much amazing food. So if you're considering where to go on your next trip, I highly recommend Bali, Gilead for beaches, just beautiful places. And if you're really into fruit, then definitely have to check out Chiang Mai. It's amazing. So yeah, I hope you guys found this helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. We are flying back to Australia next week, so we're going on lots of new adventures, and it'd be awesome if you could come along on the journey. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.